Namaste, Pranam, Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Mṛtavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatva Manusandadhami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshinim. O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Arjuna, the ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O Goddess, contained in the 18 chapters and showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism. O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. And now, Krishna Vandana. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanura Mardanam Devakim Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. O son of Vasudeva, the destroyer of Kansa and Chanur, the extreme delight for Mother Devaki. O Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. Today we are going to read the 15th Shloka of the Sankhya Yoga, the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is what Sri Krishna is now telling Arjuna. Yam hina vyathayantyete puruṣhaṁ puruṣharṣhabha sama-duḥkha-sukhaṁ dhīraṁ mṛitatvāya kalpate. So Sri Krishna is telling that Arjuna, regarding what Arjuna had spoken of killing these svajana, my own people, my own near and dear ones, kith and kin, although they are so evil. But now Arjuna had started telling him, I am going to kill them, and then I will get into this sin of, I will incur this sin of killing my own people. And now Sri Krishna is telling, who kills whom? And then in the previous shloka of the 14th chapter, Sri Krishna had told him that all this pleasure and pain, cold and hot, these are all the result of you are feeling pain of the possible killing of these Kauravas. But then we have never been, it was never that we never existed. Me, you, all these people, we always existed. We are existing now, and we are going to exist in the future also. So Sri Krishna is now telling him there is nothing like joy and sorrow, or feeling happy, feeling sad, feeling hot, feeling cold. These are all the afflictions when our senses come in contact with the objects. Matra sparshatu. That is what Sri Krishna had told in the 14th chapter. And now Sri Krishna further refers to that kind of the opposite dualities, the hot and cold, the pleasure and pain, the joy and sorrow. Now, what Sri Krishna says, Yam hina vyathayantyete. Yam who? He who. Na not. He verily. Vyathayanti. Vyathayanti is tormented or afflicted. By what? Afflicted by what? Iti, these. Puruṣhaṁ puruṣharṣhabha, the man who is not afflicted by these. Now by these what? These are the opposite dualities. that we had read about in the 14th shloka of Shitoshna-sukha-dukkha. That hot and cold and pleasure and pain, joy and sorrow. So one who is not afflicted by these, one is Purusha. And Sri Krishna has referred to Arjuna as puruṣharṣhabha, the best among the men. That man who is not afflicted by these, who is not tormented by these, the man whom these they do not torment. Oh, best among the men. Now he is, pumping up the confidence level of Arjuna by calling him best among men. And the man whom these dualities of life, they don't afflict, they don't torment, they don't create, any pain. That man, oh, best among the men. Now, Sri Krishna is referring to Arjuna as best among the men, so he ought to have those qualities. He ought to gain that status of that state of yoga, where he will start looking at these opposite dualities with the same sightedness. Sama-duḥkha-sukhaṁ dhīraṁ so mṛitatvāya kalpate. Sama-duḥkha-sukhaṁ dhīraṁ. One who accepts this pleasure and pain, joy and sorrow in the same manner. Yes, sama is patiently looks at them with the same sight. Whether it is joy, whether it is sorrow, whether it is pleasure, whether it is pain. So that person, dhīraṁ, the one who is so steady that he looks at both these dualities of opposites with the same sightedness. Saha, that man, mṛitatvāya kalpate, is verily fit. Kalpate is fit. He is verily fit for what? Amrutatva, for immortality. Because he has brought himself at such a balanced level that for him there is no difference between pleasure and pain, there is no difference between joy and sorrow, there is no difference between happiness, unhappiness. He is steady-minded. He looks at all these opposites with the same steady mind as just an observer. These things are happening in the life, fine. So what? If today there is a lot of pleasure, tomorrow there will be pain. If today there is a lot of sorrow or grief or misery, tomorrow it is going to change. Maybe the next moment it will change and bring great amount of pleasure, great amount of joy, great amount of happiness. So what is the need to get pulled down by that sorrow? And what is the need to get elated by that happiness or joy or a pleasurable moment? There is no need. So Sri Krishna tells him, that man, oh best of men, is fitted for immortality. He is verily fit for attaining the status of immortality, whom these pairs of opposites, they do not torment, they do not affect, they do not afflict. Who is balanced in pain and pleasure and is always steadfast, most balanced. There is no expression of the feeling of sorrow or even the expression of feeling of happiness. Not that suddenly a person starts jumping and shouting when he is extremely happy. No. A balanced personality. When there is something very extremely good happening, he doesn't get elated and you just start showing off, oh, how happy I am. Or if suddenly something bad happens, it is not that he starts crying and weeping and shouting in the square that, look, this is what, such a bad thing is happening to me. and broadcasting that sadness among all the people and even spreading that sadness. So the person who is balanced, who is not, who doesn't get elated and who doesn't get dissuaded, who doesn't become desperate, like Arjuna had become desperate at the end of that Arjuna Vishadi Yoga, that he had said, no, I'll not fight, he had just slept down, thinking about the thing which is not yet happened. The war has not taken place, and just thinking, I am going to kill these and this is what will happen, and that is, and he had become so much frustrated just thinking about it. So Sri Krishna now tells him, oh best of the men, you can do it. Now, Swami Chidbhavanandaji's commentary on this particular shloka, the indweller in, now why Sri Krishna has referred to Arjuna as puruṣharṣhabha, the best among men, because he has quoted some characteristics of the Purusha. Now, according to Swami Chidbhavanandaji, who is called as a Purusha? Purihi Isha, the indweller, the Lord of the Puri. Now, what is Puri? Puri is a place. I mean, okay, Jagannath Puri by that for that matter is a city as it is, but under the in the spiritual texts in the Sanskrit, Puri is also called as a place of stay, and the body is verily the place of stay for the Atman, the indweller. So one who stays inside this Puri is a Purusha, the man, a human being. Now she says, the indweller in the Puri, in the body looked upon as a city, is called Purusha. Now pleasure and pain occur inevitably in the body because of the contact of senses with their objects that we have seen in previous shloka. Matra sparshyastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha-dukkha-daha. When the senses, they reach the objects, then there is pleasure and pain, there is hot and cold, there is joy and sorrow, and all these things that they start happening. So he who identifies himself with the body is bound to be grieved. So Purusha, indweller, if he identifies himself with the Puri, with the body, then naturally he has got to succumb to the outcome of pleasure and pain and joy and sorrow, heat and cold. So all these opposite dualities, he is going to suffer because of that. But his mind does not waver who gets fixed in the self. If the self gets fixed on the self, then these dualities, these opposites, they don't have any effect on the person. Remaining unruffled by the evanescent events reveals the clarity of his understanding, and he therefore becomes a man of steady wisdom, because he knows these are all passing phases. A person advanced in age, when he looks at his life, when I look at some of the events of my life, at that point of time I might have got emotionally involved in among those circumstances, feeling so elated, feeling such a joy, or feeling so bad, feeling so down. And now, after all these years, when I look upon those events, I think, oh, what a foolish thing it was for me to react in that way. It happened, so what? Now, this experience of life has taught me, after so many years, that Oh, that time, why I was so elated, why I just started calling up all my friends. Oh, this is what has happened to me. Look at it, look at it. And if something bad has happened, same way I reacted. Immediately I started calling me, oh shit, what happened? This should not have happened to me. How it happened to me, and all those things. But today, after maybe 10, 15, 20 years of those happenings, now I wonder why I reacted that way. And that is what the experience brings in, this kind of a steadiness in the life. Now what Sri Krishna says, that if one really brings out this particular steady mentality, balanced mentality, that for that person, nothing in this world can shake him. Nothing in this world can put him down, or nothing in this world can make him so cheerful that he will just lose his mind. Even sheer joy also, under those circumstances, somebody can lose the mind. So, what Sri Krishna says, one who has gained this kind of steady wisdom, the balanced state, he is fit for attaining immortality, because he doesn't look at the bodily functions. Because, like explained by Sri Krishna in the 14th verse, that all the opposite dualities, they are functions of senses and the objects. These are the bodily functions. But one who raises himself above the level of body, he is fit to be immortal, because Atman is immortal. Sri Krishna has said, we were always there in the past, we are now, and we will always be there in the future. So why you worry? There is nothing to be sorry about, that you will be killing, and who is going to kill who. So that is also the reason that Sri Krishna says that we have to have this balance of mind. No excitement, no depression. So just a balanced outlook. And then that man will be fit to attain the state of immortality. So that was the beautiful 15th shloka of the Sankhya Yoga. And we will stop our reading today. Tomorrow we will get into nature of real and unreal as explained from the 16th shloka. So that is our reading for today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur. Jai